This is Plague Warrior here to bring you another video. And start things off, I just want to say this is my third time recording this video. I've got insomnia because it's about 3 a.m. on February 25th, 2023. And I'm getting very irritated. Because like I said, it's my third time recording this video. But maybe third time's the charm. Hopefully this ends up being a good video. But what we're going to talk about here is storytelling compared to Western comics and Eastern comics, namely manga. And let's get started. So, what we're going to say, what I want to start off with is in Western comics, basically the main idea is long, ongoing storytelling versus like finality storytelling. I don't know how to explain it, but a story with an ending. And that's the major difference between the two. There's a couple other differences here and there, but that's the big one. And I think there's pros and cons to each. A lot of people like to say, well, one's superior than the other or because of that way. But it's really just a pros and cons. Western comics has this beautiful thing of it going on forever. Now, there's a pro and con to that. Pro, I can jump in and out anytime I want. Now, that's a good and bad thing in itself. It's good because I can jump in wherever I want to. If I hear a creative team is really good, I can jump in, read that particular arc. Then the problem is, if they quit, I jump right back out and feel okay. Because it's always going to be there. I always feel like it's going to be there, so I don't have to stay with it forever. Now, there are people that do stay with it forever. They feel this need of, I've got to read every one of these books until I'm 99 years old, or until I die. But a lot of people, just kind of go in and out. Now, the problem though is that a lot of people feel threatened of how to actually get into it. They say, there's a good meme on Twitter at some point. Had one guy on one side, another guy on the other. This one guy said, you want to start off with Batman #1? Would you like to start off with Batman from the 1930s? You want to start off with Batman Year 1? You want to start off with New 52? You want to start off with like 0 Year, 0 Hour, whatever it was called? The other guy on the other side goes, you want to read One Piece? Here's Volume 1. And it's quite funny, and it's really true. I will say, though, this is kind of a tangent, but also kind of going along with what we're talking about here, is that when you have it to where you're one and done, like this is your origin story no matter what, you could be leaving something really awesome off the table. I mean, if you go back and read Batman or Detective Comics, whatever it was, I can't remember, like 38, something like that. Detective Comics, whatever. And you read that Batman origin story, it's dated. It's only okay. Now imagine if it was like, this is our origin story, we're sticking to it, and that's all there is. It's history. This is the one. People would go, this is the origin story to the Cape Crusader. What the hell? So it's a good idea to revamp it, to come back and redo it. It makes it interesting. It makes it pop. I mean, which one would you rather have? No offense to Bob Kane and Bill Finger, but would you rather have the origin story be in Detective Comics, whatever it was, or Frank Miller's Batman Year 1? No offense, I'll take Frank Miller's Batman Year 1. It's a great comic. It's basically taken all the years of Batman and all that we know about him and his psyche and being able to put it in a more updated modern comic. It's like somebody, I'm trying to think of it's like somebody threw out a prototype of a product and said, here you go. And people said, yeah, we like that product, and it went off with it. And then somebody came back and said, that first product, I think we can revamp it, we can redo it, and we can make, like, instead of it being like the prototype, we can make this the alpha product or the beta product, the product. And so they go back, they revamp it, they polish that piece of coal into a diamond, and then they hold that diamond up, and it's beautiful, and you're like, this is the potential that we saw back in the 1930s. That's what we saw, but they just couldn't form it into words yet. So you got that. Then you've got Eastern storytelling, and it's the great thing about it, like I said, is there's a one and done. There is eventually an end. Now, I think there is a couple out there that don't end or haven't ended yet. I believe Shin-chan is one. Detective Conan, I think, maybe another. So there are a couple out there where they're still, going on. But like Dragon Ball Z, done. Yu Yu Hakusho, done. Now, the funny thing about those, like I was saying, is you can't go back into, like, Buu Saga from Dragon Ball Z. People are not very fond of the Buu Saga. I think it's okay. People think it's wasted potential. They kind of crapped on Gohan by they took the guy that you watched grow up from a whiny kid, saving the universe, and then dumbed him down to being a idiot guy putting on a cape to become a superhero, and then try to redo him becoming great again, and it worked out not so well. But guess what? That's canon now. That's what it is. It's stuck that way forever. And I think that's one of the a con of Eastern storytelling, is that it's one and done. There's no going back. There's no revamping it. There's no polishing that diamond. There's no polishing that coal in the diamond. That's it. And so you just have to deal with it. Now, there are some good things to it, too. Like I said, you feel a sense of finality to it. When somebody gets killed in Eastern storytelling, they stay dead. It makes it more impactful. It makes it more emotional. It's like watching Game of Thrones. When somebody dies on Game of Thrones, people cry. Why? Because they're not coming back. That was it for them. That was their story. And you're just like, my favorite character just died. So there's a sense of that in there. Now, you got an exception like Dragon Ball Z. Like I said, nobody dies in that. But yeah, I guess what you could say is that Western storytelling, a lot of people use this analogy, is you're getting to go into a toy box and play with some toys. And eventually you want to put those toys back in there just like you had them for the next person. Whereas Eastern storytelling is, this is the way the author intended it. And this is the way it is. Now, Eastern storytelling has some advantages too. In that, I wouldn't say an advantage. Like I said, it's easier to get into because, like I said, you start with number one, you know where you're going to end. Because I think some people do like a finality. Some people want to be able to read an ending. They don't want to just see it go on and on forever, because then it's like, who cares? It'll never end. I'll never get to see the end of the story, so who cares? Also, when they do an adaptation, when it's Eastern, it's like we stay true to the manga, and that's it. That's all you got. Well, the nice thing about Western storytelling is that, there's so many different adaptations. If we did just like Eastern storytelling, you'd miss out on like Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man Animated Series, Batman Brave and the Bold, X-Men. There's a lot of things out there we'd miss out on. Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles, the 80s version. There's a lot of stuff out there that we would be like, we'd miss. And it would be sad, So that's kind of like my rant for now, and I hope y'all are getting better sleep than I am, and hopefully that kind of can stir up some discussions. But thank you very much for listening. Hope you have a good weekend.